Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Anarchy Analysis match of the week. Today we're covering SK and Vitality in a full match, cast. Today, these two teams are coming in an impressive fashion. These two teams obviously are doing pretty good for themselves because they were obviously seen as lower tier teams in the spring, whereas in summer, these two teams are coming in third and fourth respectively. And oh boy, this is very good to see. As we're about to jump into Champion Select, I'd like to point out that SK did happen to lose yesterday, and Vitality also, SK won yesterday against G2, whereas Vitality lost in their game against Misfits. But as we load into the draft here, let's get ready to start with the bans. Now I do expect a ban towards the Varus, the Callista, the Syndra, and Yuumi. But the first ban is Callista and Varus, as again expected. Trundle, another big ban. Obviously, it means that tanks become more prevalent in towards the top and the jungle, and even support. Syndra, another good ban. Champion that obviously has a lot of burst and agency towards the late game. Callista and Varus, probably the premier ADCs in the meta at the moment. Thresh, good ban here because it was a pick that was used by SK in their win yesterday over G2. It was used to perfection. The hooks came out, landing on the targets that realistically needed to, and applied so much pressure to G2. It allowed them a lot of map control and getting the crown shot ahead on his Aphelios. Now Aphelios is open, and I would expect some priority towards that as probably a first pick, or even a Yuumi first pick. That does mean that they're probably going to lean towards a Ezreal for SK. But Vitality should realistically take the Aphelios here, because Set is banned. I would say Aphelios is their main prio here. But Yuumi, very big threat of a support, because she can just harass freely, and when it comes to late game, she provides a lot of healing. On the current patches though, that healing obviously requires quite a bit of mana to obviously do, but it's still worth it because you get so much health back. The pickups though for Vitality are the Aphelios and the Lulu. Again, expected the Aphelios come through. I'd expect SK here to wait to pick the Ezreal, but they should realistically pick it now alongside their mid. But Lulu, an Enchantress that does kind of okay into the Yuumi. Obviously, you can whimsy up the ADC to stop it doing much, and only realistically have to deal with a Yuumi who realistically only autos and Qs and then Es. Not much for Yuumi to do. As for the SK pickups, the Azir and the Volibear, they're actually leaving their ADC to one of their last picks, which is kind of amazing me. Azir, great scaling ADC, great scaling mid laner for the most part. Obviously, you get the more attack speed into your kit, get bits of AP, and you're just chucking out tons of damage with them Sand Soldiers. Volibear, haven't seen a lot of play recently. It was a pickup for Vitality yesterday, which they lost with, but this pickup here for SK should realistically go to top lane. Can be played in the jungle, but it is a very, very prevalent champion in terms of how it's played. Obviously, you get so much attack speed with your passive, and using your E to get an armor shield, you start E, and then you build into your Q and then your W. It's a very powerful kit for early game trading and is a very big dominant lane bully. As for the core key pickup for Vitality, it does play quite well into the Azir because you're picking scaling into scaling. Obviously, a lot of damage can come out from the core key, and Aphelios burst that's been scaled up here for Vitality is a hard thing to deal with. Looking at the bans now for the second phase, Ezreal, I'm actually shocked was allowed to get through to this ban phase. I thought it would have been picked up by SK before this phase, but it obviously does get picked off by Vitality. Another ban here is a Twitch, which is a champ that obviously can play quite well with the Yuumi because you can go invisible, you carry in the Yuumi with you undetected, and then you just unleash a Yuumi ultimate, making it very hard for the enemies to deal with because it comes so unexpectedly. The first pick here for Vitality in the second phase is the Olaf, a very good champion for engaging an early game clear. With Trundle obviously removed, this champion is probably the quickest clearer available. There is a Grave still available if they wanted to pick this if you were on the SK side, but they've decided to put the Volibear into the jungle with the pickup of the Ornn and the MF. It's a very interesting comp here for SK because you would have expected the Ezreal to have been picked up instead of Volibear when it was, but it's a strong champion, the MF, because she does use that strut to get movement speed. Although it was nerfed in recent patches, it's still very, very useful with a Yuumi giving you the zoomies. Ornn, great champion in the top lane because he's got so much sustain, and considering Trundle's banned, I'm actually not surprised to see a tank being picked up here, providing so much use for his team in teamfights. The way that SK have drafted is a definite teamfighting comp with the MF ult, the Ornn ult, then the jump in from the Volibear. It's a very strong teamfight comp by how much lockup they can achieve. As for the Vitality side, it's a team that could look to split push the map. Obviously, you've got the Corki, who's going to be using that package to obviously zoom around the map as well as engage in fights. This is a team comp that I don't favour in terms of facing SK. I feel SK got the better half of this draft, but let's look at who's going to win here, because this is going to be an interesting game. Because this could go either way. No cool video. Let's see the gameplay. We're going to see how these two teams face off early game. Doesn't appear to be anything non-standard like a cool level 1 engage system. It's just setting up the line of skirmishes between the two teams. We see the Aphelios camping in the bottom river brush. Normal sort of setup. It's a good thing. Olaf gonna probably start red buff, go to Krugs, and then Raptors, then down to his blue, and then Scuttlecrab. It depends realistically how he wants to do it, because normally you do start top side if you're Olaf. Red side to start though for the Volibear, or not. He's just hovering around mid lane. It's kind of hard to tell. You could realistically start red buff both teams. Kind of the standard thing. Volibear will get the probably good advantage in terms of the clear rate. You start with your W to get that nice big burst of damage, and yeah, he's starting red buff. Yeah, and you see he's gone W first. You'll expect him to go into his E for a second to get some AoE damage onto the Raptors and do some actual clearing in a very effective manner. Nothing really to expect from the early games here. I'd expect though a Volibear gank towards top lane possibly to start this game off, because obviously you want to kill that Maokai. Maokai really doesn't have too much movement options to get away, but he does have kits to get onto you, which is kind of a bit of a nuisance to deal with in actual full-on team fights. But this early game, it should be a focus for SK to gank towards to get the Volibear ahead and allow him to do some work. Now, it's press the attack Volibear we see here for Trick. It's kind of the normal sort of pickup here for a Volibear. Obviously, you could go Phase Rush, you could also go with Conqueror and or Aftershock for this sort of tanky build, but I'd expect to see a tanky Volibear in terms of what is used here for Trick on that Volibear. It's a champion that obviously does have many build paths. You'd expect the first item to be a Trinity Force, as we do see a lot of harassment coming down onto Labrov this early game. It's kind of a good thing for the Yuumi to obviously be focusing down to Lulu, because Lulu is the one that will keep the Aphelios alive and harassing with shields. Even though she can shield herself, it's good to keep the Lulu wasting mana early so that she doesn't have a chance to protect Aphelios as and when a dive does come in towards the bot lane. Now, we do see Olaf coming towards the bot lane, obviously gone towards the Herald, the Scuttle Crab down there, securing that for himself as the top lane one has already been taken. And we do see Volibear sneaking up bot side to possibly set up a counter gank. So we see the Volibear obviously getting Krugs. Top side map, we see Ornn pushing into Maokai. Already got himself quite far pushed in. It's a very good thing for an Ornn to get pushing lane into a Maokai because it is a tank matchup. And Ornn, realistically, early game, does have the better of the two kits because he can obviously W the Q from the Maokai to stop as much damage coming through and flamethrower onto it. It's a very strong setup for the champion, so a good reason why it's pushing top. Now, Volibear has been spotted here in the jungle by a nice deep vision ward towards the mid lane by Vitality. It's kind of amazing me to see the fact that SK setting up a gank, because Vitality have pushed pretty far towards the bot lane, and oh god, Lulu has been caught. A big heal used there, and this is the re-engage, and yeah, because Volibear didn't get in time, he has to flash away, and here comes the re-engage. The Ornn comes through, nice knock up here, another teleport comes through, and that's the first blood to SK onto the Olaf. Volibear's gonna fall, and that should be also the Ornn falling, because this should be quite close. Ooh, yeah, this is really close. Will the sapling do it? No, it won't. And this is another big fight. 1-for-1 trade. First blood goes over to SK though, so it slightly favours them. There should be, though, a few turret plates coming over to Vitality side. Maybe not. But that was worthwhile for SK. Though, if we look at how many summoners were used, all of them were used on Vitality side. As we look at this fight again, as we see Volibear comes round, locks up the Lulu, forces the flash out, and Aphelios is just free firing in. He's able to use his purple gun to land the roots onto the Volibear to force his flash. TP comes through from Ornn, and a good knock up here, and the burst through from the Volibear kills the Olaf. Now we do see the re-engage come through from Vitality as the Maokai is just able to lock up the Volibear to allow an easy execute, and nothing else happens as we return back to the game. A team fight into, well, a fight between the top laner and the jungler of Vitality pops Cabochard in a pretty easy sort of trade. And because summoners were burnt in the last team fight, i.e. the teleport from Maokai, it means that Ornn's going to get so much gold out of this play. As Infernal Drake does go over to Vitality, look how much of a CS difference is going to be created from that kill in the top lane. We're already at least 13 ahead, and he's only just got back to lane here to Maokai. So much CS has been kind of just erased from Maokai's able to obtain. This is a very nice top lane for SK, as Ornn's using his passive to upgrade his items. A great thing about Ornn is that passive just resets now after you used it. It's so quick, and you just basically can stay in lane for so long. Oh, we do see the bullet time coming out of MF there to try and force Comp out of the lane in order to get some push here. And a bit more pressure towards this bot side, as we do see Volibear coming down bot. He is spotted out on that ward though, and the vision is just being cleared out here by SK in this bottom half of the map. It's a very nice thing. It allows them a lot of pressure onto this bot lane turret because the Volibear has been technically spotted, as well as the Azir towards bot lane. However, because Vitality know that them two members are towards the bot side of the map, as well as the bot lane is for Vitality, it should mean a free objective in the top half of the map, which is going to be the Rift Herald. Now, this should equivalate some of the gold that's picked up here by SK, as they'll probably look to set up this Herald to possibly towards top lane, because it does free up a lot more of the lane for Cabochard when he returns there, as the rotate up to top lane from the Vitality bot lane has come through, which should mean that the Rift Herald will be dropped top. The good thing though is, for SK, is the possibility of getting first tier turret would have been a possibility if they stayed down there. However, they're rotating top side as well, and that kind of is bad because already we see the rotate back towards bot lane by Vitality has come through. This is very well done by Vitality because they've already forced them out of position. They've forced the SK team to have to respond, and they've already got out of there before the air response actually arrives. It's a very nicely done thing by Vitality. Now, top lane turret is going to take a lot of damage here because it's been allowed to. Bullet time to clear the wave. Fairly standard thing, and this should be a few turret pates picked up here for SK. However, we do see bot side map. Olaf is already down here, ready to set up the Herald, and this should realistically be first turret for either team. I don't know who will get it first. I think it might be Vitality. Yeah, this should be Vitality getting this first. A lot of damage though has been done to this Herald, and it is gonna die, but first turret does go over to Vitality, bringing the gold back to just under 1k. It is a very interesting matchup so far, as this is very closely contested. Now, we do see SK not being able to get the top lane turret, but they do leave it with 2 turret plates on the top side map and then 3 on the bottom side, so expect Crown Shot and Limit to rotate back towards the bot lane in order to try and get the plating here. They do see though the Vitality members backing, and that does mean that they should be freely able to push up this bot lane. Looking towards the gold difference here, we do see that MF is slightly ahead in gold in this game, most gold in the game, closely followed by Janax in the top lane, but the Scuttle Crab does go over to Vitality here, whether they stole it or not, and that is very huge because Mountain Drake is spawning, as we do see another fight here in the bot lane as TP is coming through from the Maokai behind them. 2 TPs though responding from SK. Maokai ult is kind of wasted there as we do see the flash being burnt out of Lulu. And this is the chase down potential of SK coming out, because the Yuumi Prowling Projectile can just catch onto targets, slow them down, and allow the Volibear to chase them down. But we look at the health bar differences between these two teams. SK's health bars are slightly lower, as we do see the setup here from Vitality being so good towards this Drake. It's kind of hard for SK to actually get in towards this Drake. A good engage there onto the Aphelios though does force him to have to burn his flash to get out of it, but the Volibear does get bursted out immediately because there's no follow-up coming out from the SK carries, and Ornn is then next to follow because he's kind of there as a sacrificial lamb. Pretty good fight there from Vitality, as they're able to secure 2 kills as well as the Mountain Drake there, which is very, very good. You look at the watch this back for Aphelios, we'll see what he picks up, because he should have got a nice chunk of gold there once he's back. But as we look at this replay again, we see Olaf being shielded up here, taking the Mountain Drake. Zazie is nowhere near this play, and the engage has already come through from Volibear. This is a bit of a disconjoined fight from SK, because their carries aren't even there in a good position to fight this, and Zazie is forced to have to obviously flash. A lot of summoners burnt here. The only summoner that's left on the SK side is the flash on Ornn, but if we look at the damage from that last team fight, you'll see Aphelios was essentially allowed to just free fire in, even though he was the main target for SK in that fight with the Volibear engage. He still was able to fire in so much damage to kill off the volley and the Ornn. So, as I was saying, when we came back from that replay, look at the itemization of the Aphelios. That BF sword has been turned into an Infinity Edge, and that is a big power spike for it. We should expect to see the Hurricane coming through for the Aphelios next, just so that the amount of healing and damage coming out from the Aphelios is huge. Now, SK do set up this Herald now, should probably get it without too much contest from Vitality. Indeed they do. However, Corki is here with the package, ready and looking to engage, but nothing comes out here. And just a bit of mid lane turret damage is the reward for Vitality. So, let's talk about this Rift Herald. Where do we expect it to be played? Well, firstly, it's either going to be a mid or bot lane Herald. Top lane, there isn't really much for them to get from it, unless they get a miracle ace on Vitality, but it's highly likely the Herald's going to be dropped mid in order to obviously get that mid lane turret to free up so much roam potential for the team, as well as map pressure, because you're able to get into them jungles a bit more easily, as well as have the control of mid, which is a huge thing to say. Now, we do see bot lane being pushed up here for SK, possibly to get that turret. It is already halfway chunked. I'd expect that just to be broken down by the MF or the Yumi, because there isn't too much left on it. However, we do see SK setting towards mid lane, and that should be where Herald is going to be dropped now. Now, there is possibility of a contest towards this blue buff, but obviously SK want to set up vision towards this Drake, which spawns in 1 minute and 10 seconds from now, which is kind of their big thing. They do manage to get the Scuttle Crab, which is a huge win for SK in terms of setup, as they want this Drake to stop the stacking from Vitality, and if they do stop the Drake here, it does mean that Vitality won't be on the third Drake and on Soul Point. Now, Vitality now come back into the river here to obviously set up their own vision after SK's had their turn. This should be where we see a bit of a response from SK in clearing out a bit of the vision setup here, even though the river should realistically be Vitality's because of the pressure that they should have sustained or gained from the gold lead they have generated. Now, Rift Herald has been dropped mid, which is a very nice thing, because that forces Vitality to have to deal with it, because once Drake spawns, they go to kill the Drake and basically get it for free, because the mid pressure is too much for Vitality to have to deal with. It should basically mean a free Drake, as we do see Vitality 4 members strong towards this mid lane, as this is kind of an interesting thing. This is them setting up. Olaf already going back to steal the Wolf Camp here from SK, which is a nice thing. He does manage to get the big one, as we do see a turret trade coming in between these two teams, one in top, one in bot lane. And yeah, this is very, very nice. We do see the Manamune picked up for the Corki. He's obviously looking to get that max stack on it, get that as quick as possible, turn it into the mana, make it do a lot more damage. He should also be very close, having just hit 200 minion kills, to his Trinity Force, which would be an even bigger power spike for the Corki. He does have the one dagger towards that Stinger, which is is the third part of the component, as he's already got the Phage and the Sheen. And what do you know? Yuumi is still sat on top of the Volibear, obviously providing a lot of pressure, as we do see this gank towards the Ornn coming through. Ornn does come through. He is almost going to burst out this Aphelios. Nearly managed to kill him. But obviously the Lulu may have been mispositioned there, as it went straight onto the Olaf instead of the Aphelios to keep him alive or a bit more healthy. But yeah, that is a pretty easy dive towards bot lane by Vitality. Not much realistically on the map for SK to gain, bar a few jungle camps in the top half of the map, but they should be realistically traded back by Vitality. Now, top lane pressure is favoured towards SK, though we do see the Corki roaming up to obviously push the wave back. It's still pretty even in terms of how this game's been played, as there's not that big of a gold lead, though it is favoured slightly towards Vitality. But yeah, we look at the minions and CS differences between lanes. Big difference in the top lane for SK, as Ornn has just been able to get at least 20 CS up onto the Maokai. Oh, Corki does see the volley. He doesn't manage to kill it, but that is a pretty much dead Volibear. He is caught out by the Maokai flank, and then the Corki just sitting waiting with package just to kill him. Very nicely done. Vitality Baron take here. It is spotted out thanks to the blue horde or the blue trinket. Don't know how SK are going to respond, considering their jungler has just been taken out. The flank, though, coming out from Maokai does mean that Ornn has been caught out slightly, and that Baron has just been chunked. It has been taken by Vitality, and this should be just as disengaged by Vitality, just to keep the Barons alive, and basically means it's going to be a hard time now for SK to deal with this Vitality push, because you look at the team comp on SK, there isn't too much wave clear bar the Azir and the MF, because Volibear would have to dive straight into the wave in order to actually kill it, but it's going to be hard with Baron empowered minions there. And yeah, that kill very nicely set up by Vitality, as Corki was just able to spot him out as he was taking the Gromp. And then the Maokai flank comes through. Pretty easily done and very, very nicely executed. Now, we do see Corki towards the bot lane with the Maokai hovering between lanes, as well as the Lulu, as they've just managed to take the first tier turret in the mid lane by Vitality. But the big thing that we're possibly going to see a big fight towards is going to be this Cloud Drake in 16 seconds. Even though the bottom jungle is Vitality's because of how they're set up and how they're pushing, expect this bot lane turret to die, because the entire Vitality team have rotated around. That's going to be a pretty dead turret. And yeah, this should probably be the Cloud Drake for free. Would have expected a fight here if there wasn't a Baron empowered team on the map. But this should be a free Cloud Drake and soul point for Vitality here, which is going to be quite an important point for the game, because in 5 minutes from now, we should possibly see the game-winning fight if you're Vitality. And right now, if I'm SK, I'll be looking to pick up as much gold as possible so that you could stand a chance when that Drake spawns in order to actually contest. That being said, Ornn has just hit level 13. One more level and the big, powerful ornaments come through, which you'd expect the first one to be the Molten Edge 4 MF here, which will be a huge power spike. A power spike that's unable to be obtained by Vitality. So there is that kind of helps SK deal with this team comp that Vitality has. But this should be quite an interesting matchup, because I expect this to be a very close last game fight. Now, we do see a little bit of pressure towards this top side by Vitality, but it is well responded by SK. And because they've responded to that, it does mean that this tier 2 in the mid lane is just going to be chunked out by Vitality and destroyed pretty nicely. So what we're going to see here is just a nice bit of chill time. This is the downtime we need in a game to just relax, talk about everything that's going on as a whole. We do see the Ornn closing in on level 14. He does have his 2 ornaments already. He's gone for the Molten Sunfire Cape and the Abyssal Mask. I don't know what the upgraded one is called, but we do see the second perfect gun set up here on the Aphelios, the red and the blue gun. Obviously the red gun's good for healing and attacking very quickly, and the blue gun's just a mass amount of burst with that Moonlight Vigil. It's a very powerful Infernum ult. Now, Aphelios is just stepping up way too far in the lane, in my opinion, there. But obviously he does have his team around him. He is frontlining slightly. And yeah, what we're actually seeing is just a nice 4-1 split push here by Vitality, creating a lot of map pressure towards the bot's end map. And what can SK do, because they're grouped all 5 mid? They're trying to ARAM here, SK, when they can't really ARAM. Good Azir turret here does mean that it means that this mid lane should realistically be SK's for now, though it won't be a turret, but it is a lot of damage being done to their bot lane turret. And yeah, Ornn is forced to obviously respond to this, and not much more can be done. And Baron will be up in 20 seconds, which should be another teamfight opportunity for these 2 teams. If I am SK, I'd probably be looking to do that, or try and sneak the Baron away to get themselves back into this game. However, this could be quite a hard thing to do, considering Vitality have already got themselves into this position where they're kind of cutting off SK. Corki does have package right here, which is a huge thing for this upcoming fight that will come. And yeah, SK should probably check here with the Ornn. He has just been caught, but look at the damage just done by that Infernum. Just melts the MF there. Though it is a 1-for-1 trade, as Maokai is taken out by the Ornn Horn, and Olaf just comes running in face first into the damage as the turnaround's coming in from the SK lineup as a great Azir ultimate and the burst comes through. This is a very close fight, but Vitality managed to stay alive here. Lulu versus Yuumi. Supportal combat. Yuumi should realistically win this. And look at how much healing this Yuumi is doing. God. Oh my days. This is so close. Oh no. Corki just steals this and ruins the fight. And that should definitely be Cloud Soul after a very interesting team fight there. That almost was a SK fight there. It just got turned around so hard as Cloud Soul goes through. As we watch this team fight again, let's just watch the Affiliate Soul after this bit of trading here by the Ornn and the Maokai. Ornn kind of just gets bursted, and the Moonlight Vigil with Infernum just absolutely bursts the MF out there. The re-engage here though from Olaf just isn't enough, as the Azir is just allowed to free fire in and Ornn just does a lot of damage. Though Azir tries to go back in and use his ultimate to push the Corki and Lulu through and kill off them, but the re-engage from the Corki and the Lulu just gives so much damage over with the last bit of the Aphelios blue gun killing off the Azir and the other damage dealers on SK, as Ornn just immediately gets killed off here by the Corki. Re-engage does come through back onto the MF by Vitality, and if I'm Vitality right now, I'd be looking to turn it back onto Baron, force SK to have to come towards Baron, and if they don't, that's basically going to be game. If they do, it should realistically be game. This is Vitality's to lose right now. Not much more can be done by SK, because Baron is already on Vitality. Cloud Soul is on Vitality, and let's watch this fight again. We see MF stepping forward. The shield is used by Lulu. Comp misses his ult, and Ornn just tries to turn it on him. Immediately gets rooted by the purple gun, though, is Ornn, and Ornn is kind of sacrificed here. Not much more could be done here. Though we do return back to the live, and Lulu is forced to use her ult here. It's kind of unlucky, though, because the bullet time is also used. A good trade of ults, I guess, if you're Vitality, because that big CC teamfighting ult has just been used. And this should be a dead turret, because that cannon is realistically not going to be killed. SK forced back to the inhib. Should be the inhib falling. Mid lane being pushed in by Olaf as well. And nothing has been set up bot side though by Vitality as an engage onto the Olaf slightly comes through. Not going to be too much though, as he's just going to walk back and deal with it. Ornn though comes through. He is rooted though, so the second half of the ultimate does not come through, and a lot of damage has been done onto the Vitality team members. Watch the volley bear come through. Yuumi ult comes through, but nothing else can come through because the rest of SK cannot get onto that fight because of the actual choke hold position. They don't want to go into it with the Moonlight Vigil as an option for Aphelios. With that blue gun already on him, the Infernal would do so much damage and possibly just end the game in favour of Vitality. So good disengage there by SK. It is kind of hard for the them to pick off enemies, though they want to just pick someone in transition and obviously get the kill that way. But we look at the minion waves, as you see, top wave, the Vitality super minions are slowly pushing themselves into that top lane, which are going to be something that SK are going to have to deal with, and as such, mid wave's free for Vitality to get the inhib there, and we should realistically, with the last 20 20 seconds here on the Baron buff, see this last turret fall. Maokai ult used to obviously push away SK, and the roots are landed. Yeah, this is all 3 inhibitors falling for SK, and that means that Vitality just are able to reset with the last few seconds of the Baron buff to get back to base quicker. And a very well executed Baron by Vitality there gets them triple inhibs, a bit of damage onto Nexuses, not much though, and that was a very, very well used Baron. At this point, this should be where Vitality look to end, as Elder is up in just over a minute. If they go for that, that'll be how they'll win. If they obviously get it, that should be realistically game for Vitality. SK though, this is kind of hard for them to get anything. We do see though the purple gun and the blue gun for Aphelios. He's probably looking to use all the purple gun up in order to get the white gun, which is the chakrams. Chakrams are kind of the big thing that you want going into a team fight if you're an Aphelios. Though the blue gun does do a lot of damage. And whoa, that is so much burst onto the volley. We do see package coming out, and the Maokai ult comes through. The engage is coming in by Vitality. Ornhorn used, turrets are just falling, and the Nexus is the target here for Vitality. They don't care about the fight, though they are going to pick up 2 kills. The Azir and the Volibear fall as the game ends, and Vitality beat SK. Wow. That was a very interesting game, ladies and gentlemen. We just saw Vitality beat SK, and it's very interesting because SK just beat G2 the day before. Vitality lost to Misfits. This is a very, very close league right now, as all the teams are so closely contested for the top spot. Like, you've got Mad and Rogue at the top of the league, along with Origin, and now Vitality, SK, G2, Mad, Fnatic. All these teams are all closely contested, and it's very, very close to see. That being said, that game was very well executed on the draft by Vitality, because they used the split push potential of the Corki very nicely. Just got him ahead, got him so much, and a big actual impact. Anyway, that game was great to watch. If you enjoyed this, leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.